I've been waiting for this video all day, and the thumbnail is no clickbait, man. I legit found a player that I just watched this morning, and I was coming to myself and saying, "You've got to be kidding me. Where the heck is the hype for this player right now? This dude looks like Josh Allen." Like, when I'm watching this guy that I'm about to show up on the screen for the New York Football Jets picking at #1 overall in this mock draft, which is also 2-round Tuesday. Hope you're having a cool day, by the way. But I'm just want to say, get ready, Jets fans, because some people are going to blow their lid. They're going to blow the top. They're going to throw something at me.
Red, you're turning red as a lobster. Now don't blow your top.
It's my top, and I'll blow it if I want to.
They're going to try to come find me.
Oh, I'm coming for you.
I definitely don't live in Indiana, so don't come looking there. I live in China, okay? I'm in China, you know what I'm saying? I just hold my Mandarin pretty well for you guys. I hide it, but anyway, here it is. It's going to be Brendan Sorsby from Cincinnati, the Bearcat. Dude is one of my favorite players that I've watched all season long. I can't believe.
I can't believe.
I can't believe it's no bother.
I've not found this guy until right now. I remember him back at IU and thinking, okay, yeah, it is what it is. And he ends up transferring out to Cincinnati. Now, here's my little thing. I've only watched 3 games from him. I've watched Nebraska. I've watched Iowa State, most recently in Kansas. Those 3 games of what I've watched from Brendan Sorsby. So take that with a grain of salt and take everything I'm saying here with a grain of salt. But from what I have seen in those 3 games, I have been more impressed with than any quarterback in this draft class. I like Mensa a lot too. Mensa's a guy who I'm super impressed with. I don't know if he ends up coming out in this draft class, so he's not going to be I project all the time in mock drafts. I like Scoresby so much, though. Somebody that I think has a rocket arm. He has a legit Josh Allen level talent of arm that just flies. He can flick that thing a mile. He can rip that thing into tight windows. He's relatively accurate. Even though the numbers may not back that up statistically, I think he throws away a lot of passes, and it just that hurts his accuracy numbers a little bit. But when you're talking about on the money, on target throws, for the most part, he's pretty good with that. He has some misses, right? He had the one miss versus Kansas that could have been intercepted. He airmailed that thing. Overall, though, I think his accuracy is pretty good, and his arm talent, as I said, it is top tier level arm, definitely a bazooka cannon level. And he's super athletic as well, just as Josh Allen. He is extremely a mobile quarterback that you give him a little bit of a crease, he's going to take off. He doesn't take many sacks. He took his first sack versus Kansas, and yeah, he just avoids sacks because he's so athletic, and he's got all the physical traits you look for from those top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL out there. So, and the way he's gotten better clearly throughout going back to the IU days, because it wasn't very good back then, and he didn't really catch my eye, and obviously the transfer and all those sort of things as I mentioned earlier. But with Scoresby, I just am saying right now, this guy could be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and I'm a Jets fan, so I'm only going to do this for the Jets, really, because I believe in it, and I really want Scoresby. I wanted Josh Allen a ton as a Jets fan, but that's okay. We are going to go get Scoresby, hopefully Josh Allen 2.0 right here. Lock it into the bank. I am so pumped up after seeing him. It was just one of those things where I was like throwing things in a good way, of course, just like, yo, let's go. Sometimes when you just watch film, you're just like, yes, this dude is got the bee's knees. Then you're rocking it out. But on to the second pick, Dante Moore, the Oregon Duck. Obviously another big riser here. And he's going to be taking another Duck to the Browns. You're saying, wait, they just got one with Dylan Gabriel. Are you giving up on Dylan Gabriel already? What are you doing? Yeah, I'm giving up on him already, I guess, by selecting Dante Moore. However, I understand the whole scenario. I just personally didn't see it with Gabriel. That's my opinion, and we'll continue. You can prove me wrong as the season goes along. You got Shedeur Sanders there, too. Is it their biggest need at the moment? Probably not. Offensive line, to my knowledge and my view, watching their games, is probably their biggest need overall on their roster. But Dante Moore is a really good football player, and he's another dude that has been so impressive. And his film is just very, very good, besides a couple of missed throws in the Oregon State game decision-wise, and then the one decision-making with the Northwestern in the cover 2, the Tampa 2, where he kind of missed that hole or right in the linebacker going up the seam. I thought he's been really, really good this entire season. He's been accurate. He's been mobile. He's made plays in the clutch. And for the Browns, still quarterback. They just traded Joe Flacco, too. I heard the news. They gave up Joe Flacco. Can you believe that? They gave up Flacco to the Bengals, too. They obviously aren't threatened by it, but it is what it is. We're going to get Dante Moore here, quarterback from the Ducks. The Bengals here at number 3, and they go get Joe Flacco. Let's go get Bain, Reuben Bain from the Hurricanes. Going to be a nice hurricane off the edge for this football team. It's BPA. You pair him up with Shamar Stewart, Trey Hendrickson, and Miles Murphy as your little combo of 4 out there. I'm not worried about too many guys in the room. I want more guys in the room. I want to juice up this defense. New coaching staff. That is really my top need for this football team in general. Then we go on to the Titans. They would have loved Reuben Bain, but that's okay. I'm going to go get Jordan Tyson, arguably the second best player in college football for that's draft eligible right now. That's draft eligible. I gotta preface it that right now, but Tyson's a great football player. And at this point, I'm just going BPA for the Titans. Go get a number 1 weapon. And even though Ridley had his best season as a Titan, or best game as a Titan, in my opinion, I still want to improve the wide receiving room here with Jordan and Tyson. On to the Saints here at number 5. I'm taking Keldrick Falk, the edge rusher. Falk. What a great football name, right? And you think of the Falks of the past. Why not add a Falk in here for the Saints? Somebody that is going to help out their pass rush a little bit more. Chase Young, still injured right now. When he comes back, certainly should help out their pass rush. Grenderson, Falk, and also Chase as your combination of 3. Then we go on, and plus he's a good run defender too, help them out in that department, which has been a little tricky. We go on to the Raiders here at number 6. They can use a plethora of things. I'm going to go with Peter Woods, the Clemson extraordinaire on that defensive line. The one guy that I do think on that defensive line is very, very good. I actually like Will Helt, too, a lot. I think number 13 is a little underrated on that Clemson defensive line. I'm not a fan of TJ Parker that much. I think Peter Woods and Helt are the best 2 players on that front, but Woods for sure is a top 10 type of pick, especially in this draft class. And for the Raiders, they got manhandled, though, that Colts offensive line this week. They need help. On to the Miami Dolphins, and we are going to be taking cornerback Jamad McCoy. It is pretty self-explanatory for the secondary. They need help. They need it bad, and we're going to improve that. They need run defense really bad. I mean, that's probably their biggest weakness right now. However, you got a lot of young guys. I mean, Biggers, Grant, Phillips, all rookies. Those guys just need a little bit of time to help out that regard. Maybe a linebacker, too, this offseason could be something they look at. On to number 8. I'm taking for the Giants offensive line. I know, another uncreative pick, but Spencer Fanu, he's a monster, man. He's a really good football player. Hasn't really had the season that you're really looking for from a top 10 pick, in my opinion, just watching the film. I do think that the Texas Tech Red Raiders, Romello Hyatt, and David Bailey really got the best of him in a couple of different reps. Good player, though, and he still held his own. It wasn't horrific. However, he's got the traits. He's got the elite athleticism. I think his balance needs to get a little bit better. I think his hand technique ultimately is the big thing here. But when you have traits like that, it's going to serve you very well and can be their future right tackle. Number 9, Carolina Panthers. Couple of different areas of this team I could have gone, but I went with Arvell Reese, the best Buckeye right now on their defense. I know I said it, but I think Arvell Reese is just playing on a different level. And they're super talented in that defense right now. I just think that Arvell Reese is somebody that comes in here as this team's number 1 linebacker, can play up and down the line of scrimmage. Literally can play on the line of scrimmage, can play up over the nose if you need him to. The guy is so strong with his hands. He can block shit consistently as a linebacker. He's going to be a menace, and hopefully they're Luke Kuechly of the future. I mean, different players than Luke Kuechly, but man, is he talented. And they haven't taken a linebacker this high since Luke Kuechly. Let's go get Arvell Reese into the room. On to, look at the little molten lava over here from them Skull Vikings, where we're going to take running back Jeremiah Love. Is this a typo? Yeah, I know, it's a little eye scratcher. Don't scratch your eyes. Here it is, Jeremiah Love, though. I just think at this point in the draft, he's one of the best players in this draft class right now, and somebody that I think comes in day one and gives them a great 1-2 punch with Jordan Mason. And that's the thing, too, is that I think that Aaron Jones, while still a great football player who is injured right now, they could cut him, save a good chunk of change, bring in Air Love with that, like I said, that combination of him and Mason. And I just think that would be excellent for this offense. And J.J. McCarthy build a foundation with their run game. You got Donovan Jackson up there at that guard position to lead the way with Will Fries. Brian, Kelly's injured too right now. O'Neal's injured. So they do have some injuries on that. Even Jackson's in, but they're a little banged up, and maybe you say, hey, let's continue to invest in the offensive line here. I just felt like, I don't know if there's a guard that I'm looking to take at this point. And O'Neal is still under contract. I think he'll get an extension too, so I'm not like super worried about that. He's only 30 years old. I don't feel like I have to go after a replacement there. So that's why I'm going Air Love here. Defensively, I mean, D tackle is definitely a thought. Peter Wood's off the board. So I'm rocking with it here with Air Love. I think he's kind of the best in corners, another spot, maybe Mansour Delane, but I do that a lot. I want to change it up. I think it's a realistic possibility for this team. I'm just saying, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked. On to the Cardinals here, number 11. I am going with Francis Mauigoa, offensive tackle / guard. I don't care however they want to work out for this team. They need an upgrade at that guard position and at tackle. And it just depends on Jonah Williams, whether they bring him back. If they don't, then Mauigoa, plug and play over there to be that 1-2 punch with Paris Johnson in your tackle room. Paris Johnson, though, he's looking like an all-pro this year, I'll say that. Paris Johnson hasn't been the problem. He's been excellent. But Mauigoa as your bookend tackle of the future. Then we go on to the Rams here. Pick from Atlanta, where I'm going to take a quarterback. I'm taking Fernando Mendoza. Let's go ahead and let him develop for a season behind your quarterback and Matthew Stafford, the legend, hopefully Hall of Famer. I would love Matthew Stafford to make it into the Hall of Fame. That's a good argument. Will he make it? I don't see why he shouldn't. Maybe he won't be a first ballot, but I certainly think he should be in the Hall of Fame at some point. Mendoza, though, here will be a good understudy for a season and then can take over the reins when Matthew Stafford is ready to retire. Then we go on to number 13. Pardon me, I'm getting ahead of myself. The Bears. We're taking Sonny Styles. Oh, it's sunny in Chicago right now. And actually, I think it's raining. But Sonny Styles is going to be our linebacker of the future with Tremaine Edmonds getting into a point where he's expensive. Maybe they try to get a little cheaper at that linebacker position. I really like Sonny Styles, and I think he is playing on a different level. Him and Arvell Reese, great football players. I've had a crush on Sonny Styles for a very long time now over at Ohio State. He is just a football player that I want on my team, and I certainly think he's got all the tools to drop back in coverage. He's got enough stack and shed ability. It's still something he can work on. Overall, like all the tools with Sonny Styles are there. Can rush the passer, a really good football player. And then we go on to the Baltimore Ravens at 14. I would love to get D tackle, but I said, hey, let's go get the best defensive lineman available, Cashius Howell from Texas A&M. Another monster week. Cashius Howell versus Mississippi State was utterly dominant and pushing dudes back into the pocket regularly on that defensive line. Even despite the short arms, too, that he has, which is going to be a big concern with him. But, man, he can just rock some dudes. He's decent in the run game as well, despite the lack of arm length. Maybe it's more of an issue when it gets to the next level, so that's something to think about when you're translating and all those sort of things. Dude is just a monster on the field. I'm going to go ahead and lock him in here for the Baltimore Ravens, who could use some more pass rush in their room. David Ojabo. Ojabo is a free agent, but also Adafiowe is a free agent. Calvin is a free agent. So Robinson and Mike Green, and now you get Cashius Howell into that room. Patriots, we're going Mekhi Lemon. Mekhi Lemon is just best player available. The Sparkles are out today. I think that would be just one of those picks where even though they've got Kyle Williams still rolling out there and developing, you got Kayshon Boutte, who's looked good. Diggs has looked good this season, had a good game versus the Bills. I still think that's something that Will Diggs, maybe you could still move on from Diggs after the season, especially if you go get Mekhi Lemon, save some money and spend it elsewhere if you want to. Mekhi Lemon is just a top talent. I think he's maybe a top 10 pick in this draft class at this point. Then we go on to the Bolts, the Chargers. I'm going to go ahead and take ourselves an edge rusher, ourselves a little bolt of electricity here, and it's David Bailey because this guy's got speed for days. He's got bend for days. I think he's got the best bend in this class, and I'm going to get a ripper there for this Bolts team, some more pass rush off the edge, something that they are a little bit lacking there at that front for the Chargers. On to the Cowboys here. Well, actually, injuries are what they really are struggling with for the Chargers. I'm going to Caleb Downs, self-explanatory. You go ahead, get yourself that safety of the future. I know Jerry Jones really has not invested premium draft capital in the safety position, but Caleb Downs, I think, is worth the pick here and just would make way too much sense at 17 overall. Slam dunk pick, lock and load, boom, easy, done, sold, signed, sealed, delivered. What else ways can I say it as a salesman out here? I'm clearly not a salesman. We go on to the Steelers here, and they're taking Lenoris Sellers. It's in Pittsburgh. They'd be going crazy, hopefully, for this pick. Let's get a little hyped up. Let's get our quarterback of the future, our Ben Roethlisberger meets, Cam Newton type of player, somebody with the athletic traits and the tough ability that Ben Roethlisberger had. And if he could develop into a passer more consistently, could be an elite top 5 quarterback. Also has those type of traits, just needs the proper development. And then we go on to number 19, Seattle. I'm going Mansour Delane. As I like to say, he is the monsoon of the corners. He just brings a rainy day for whichever receiver has to be taken of his course in that week. And Mansour Delane can be that opposite parent with Witherspoon of the future. Well, in a free agent, they struggled this week with Pritchett. So let's continue to improve the cornerback room. On to the Denver Broncos. A big win over the Eagles. And now we go get a big win here with Caleb Banks. The problem with Caleb Banks, the injury question. How does that check up? Because this guy could easily fall to the 5th round. Who knows, right? I mean, he is maybe an older prospect too. I don't exactly know the age because there's contradicting reports. 2020, 2021, 2023. I don't really know. But with Caleb Banks, I think he is a guy that is a top 10 player in the draft. It just has the medical concern. Now, it is maybe even a little bit more of a concern than Jeffrey Simmons. So is it a little bit tough to project him in the Jeffrey Simmons sort of range? Maybe. However, if you're talking about strictly a John Franklin Myers type of replacement, I think Banks is that type of mold. Somebody that can get after the quarterback like Franklin Myers on that defensive front to pair along with Zach Allen and Justin Jones on that defensive line. They also did draft Savion Jones too, but hey, I think Banks is just an utterly amazing talent. It just comes down to the injury thing. You got to vet that out. On to the Commanders. Hold on, Commanders fans, because this is gonna shake your boots a little bit. I know they got other needs in this position that I'm about to take, but we're going YOLO today. I'm going Kenyon Sadiq. If Deebo Samuel is here long term, even though maybe they may want to keep Deebo the way he's playing right now, I'm gonna go ahead and Kenyon Sadiq, at least in the future, can be sort of that type of player for them. You pair him up with Sanat, who's kind of a really good blocker. Sadiq's actually good technically as a blocker. He's just not the most powerful. I don't know if that's ever really going to be his game. But as a receiving option, this guy makes plays. I think he'd be a great fit, too, with the Commanders and their style of offense and Cliff Kingsbury's style. So that's kind of where I'm at. I just feel like Sadiq would be a great fit with what they're looking at in this offense. So that's kind of what I'm going with Kenyon Sadiq here, adding another playmaker into this offense. So changing it up a little bit, even though, as I said before, edge rusher, cornerback, those are kind of bigger needs. Maybe even a linebacker of the future, depending if an Arvell Reese or Sonny Styles are there. That'd be awesome too. Houston, we're going ahead and taking offensive line. I'm back to the mold here with Connor Lew. Let's go ahead and improve that center position for the long haul. They did play they are stacking wins on that offensive line. Ursary has continued to get better and better, which is good to see. I mean, the competition with Baltimore right now isn't the greatest, so there's that. Their defenses, chips right now. But I got to give credit where credit's due. They're looking way better. Connor Lew, be a finishing piece on that interior offensive line. I got to go to the Lew maybe. I got to take a little pee out. No, I'm joking. We're good to go. We're good to go. I'm rocked in, and I'm ready for Caden Proctor because when Kyle Shanahan sees Caden Proctor flying down the field as a running or as a receiver, he's going to be like, oh my gosh, that's Trent Williams 2.0. I'm going to go take this guy, and he's going to be the future for us. And he can sit and develop for a season if they need him to. They can line him up at guard. They can utilize him as a 6th offense lineman because they do that over here. And we're just going to take the big fella from Alabama. I like this fit. I like it a ton. And I'm going to go take him here to be the future left tackle for this team. Kansas City, the Chiefs. We're going to go ahead and take a safety, Dylan Thieneman. And this guy has been clutch and huge for Oregon this season. Obviously, the game-winning interception versus Penn State. Not just that, he's been all over the football field as a tackler, as a ball hawk in the secondary. He is a Purdue Boilermaker, and Purdue Boilermakers, all the good ones end up transferring out, it seems like. But Thieneman can be the replacement for Dylan Cook, who is a free agent this offseason. So Thieneman and Jaden Hicks as your 1-2 punch. I like the complementary skill set there as well. So let's rock it in, the duck into this defense for Spags, since if he doesn't get a head coaching job elsewhere. On to the Dallas Cowboys. This pick's from Green Bay. I'm going with Keith Abney. Let's finish up the secondary. I know it's boring. I just keep doing the same dang thing, right? But I'm going to keep doing it because, hey, they need secondary help. It's still an issue for this football team. And let's go grab Keith Abney. Even though they had their best week, and even though the points at the end were more of just like, we don't really care that much. They did do a good job versus the Jets, even though the Jets need more help in that wide receiving room right now. It's like you take away Garrett Wilson, and you don't really have a whole ton there. But Abney finishes up the secondary. You build something here with the future now. You got 2 studs with Caleb Downs and now Keith Abney. Almost combined the two. On to the Colts here at number 26. I'm doing something a little bit different this week as well. Caleb Lomu from Utah, the other tackle. And he's super athletic. He's going to be that right tackle of the future. With Braden Smith being a free agent, they have invested there. Okay, they got Travis. I always mess up his name opposite ways, but Jones, Travis. Yeah. But Iowa State tackle of last year. And with this, though, Lomo slide over to right tackle. If they don't feel confident in that, then hey, Lomo at this point I think makes a lot of sense. He's a little sloppy at times, but I still like his hand technique, and I think he's got some good punching ability to his repertoire, and certainly a guy that has the athletic mold. He just oversets a little bit too often, and that's something that gives him some problems versus these speedy or twitchier rushers. Overall, like, he's super athletic, and for most NFL guys, I think he'll be okay. Especially for the Colts, where they use tight ends, you can kind of have him work on that a little bit. On to the Bucks here, and we're going to go ahead and take another duck. Mateo Uyungale, the edge rusher from Oregon, who is got those hands, man. He's got some of the best hands out of this edge class. He's just very, very nuanced when it comes to that. He knows how to get off blocks consistently. And for the Bucks, let's just add another pass rusher in here with Braswell and Yaya, and especially if Shaq isn't back after this.
You think you can do this to me?
Different player. Hassan Reddick either which way. So Mateo Uyunglele, though, gives them a little more circus into that defensive line. It sounds like a circus name. Mateo Uyunglele. On to the Buffalo Bills. I love this pick so much that I'm going to do it again. I'm going to keep doing this one, Buffalo. Chase Bisontis. Bisontis is a guy where I think he's so underrated right now. He is a very good pass protector. I thought he was very good in the run game. He's been good in the run game this year as well. And he's been on my eye since he's been a freshman. And he just continues to get better and better. He's just a fluid mover. He's got great size, great length. Just a plug-and-play left guard for this football team. Going on to the Detroit Lions now, I'm going to go ahead and shock everybody. I'm taking a corner. This guy just seems like a Campbell, dude. He has that grit. He's got the fight. He's got the toughness that I'm looking for as a Detroit Lion corner. Terrion Arnold, I get it. He's been on an island a lot, but they could still use more secondary help in general. It is a problem that they seem to get picked on, so I would improve the room. And Arnold could even play for them in the slot. I feel like that he can work a multitude of roles, so I'm going to get Will Lee. You put him in there, and I just feel like you're building something. DJ Reed, Will Lee, and Terrion Arnold. Our Meek Robinson's been pretty good. I will say our Meek Robinson's been pretty good, but he does have his limitations at times, and he will get beat to here and there. So he was kind of up and down this past week. I think that Will Lee would be a nice little addition. He's just so feisty, man. He doesn't care about the mouthpiece, nothing. Like, I'm just going out there. I'm just rocking it out. I'm punching dudes. He's such a physical freak. On to the Eagles here, and we're going with A.J. Terrell, back-to-back corners off the board. And he just seems like a Vic Fangio style of corner in this room. He's got the ball instincts, and somebody you pair along here with Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, finish off that cornerback room like that, lickety split. You got yourself a tandem of three that just seems like a sweet spot for this football team. And now you had a young Legion of Boom for the Eagles. Now we go on to the Rams here with their second pick in the first round. I'm going to go ahead and take a tackle. I'm going to take Trevor Gooseby. I am actually a little lower on Gooseby than others. Like, I see the traits, okay? And you go back to this past week versus Florida, he had a two-hand block that was up there with Caden Proctor's. It wasn't quite as good as Proctor's of last year versus, who was it? But I forget. But Proctor had a two-handed block that was just insane, that allowed Milrow some time to throw the ball. It may have been versus Georgia. But Gooseby is super, super talented. I just feel like he's a very clunky athlete. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's a technique thing. He's got to get better with his footwork, his balance. Those two things, to me, have to get better with Gooseby. But the raw talent, the arm length, the power, it's all there with him. The size is crazy. So if he can develop and he can be that right tackle of the future, and at 31, I can start to, say, all right, we're going to take a chance here at this point. Last pick of the first round, Cleveland Browns from Jacksonville, and with a Super Bowl champion Jacksonville Jaguars, it's Duval. Unbelievable, right? That was a great game last night, by the way. Devin freaking Lloyd. If I want to quote Liam Cohen, we might have to say a different word, but Carnell Tate, wide receiver to the Browns here. Let's just get BPA. I think Carnell Tate at this point, I think he'll be off the board ultimately. However, if he's on the board here, I'm taking him here. He can be a Cedric Tillman help for them. And Cedric Tillman's not been bad or nothing. It may be better quarterback play too. And, if you avoid injuries and stuff like that. But Carnell Tate, you add him in here with Jerry Jeudy. Carnell Tate has got some really nice hands, and that has been a little bit of a question mark. There's some drops in this wide receiving room. I think Carnell Tate just a really, really solid wide receiver 2 in the NFL. Round number 2, where we got the New York Jets back on the clock. We win after the most shocking pick you'll probably ever see in the mock draft. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I'm sure you see some surprising ones. This is a little bit more calm, a little more collected for the Jets. Chris Brazzell, the third from Tennessee, the volunteer. I volunteer to add him to the Jets because we really need another weapon in this offense. Brazzell would be a fantastic addition as a big, monstrous, contested catches are so good this season. The wingspan that he has, the catch radius, and not just all of that, right? This guy actually has some nuance to his game. He can run some routes and create some separation. We need another playmaker in this offense. So now we go get Scoresby, Josh Allen 2.0, another weapon in the offense. So I'm sold. I'm sold onto the Browns. I'm going Drew Shelton. I watched the Uyunglele matchup with Shelton. I still like him. I still think he's a guy that's a developmental guy, more of a round 2 dude, but he's got a lot there. Whether he's a guard at the next level or a tackle, he's going to come under that 34-inch mark is my guess. Not by tons. I don't think he's 32. My guess is he's somewhere in that 33 benchmark, but I think his hands are good. And while he lost 1 rep that I thought he shouldn't have to Uyunglele, other than that, he played a pretty dang good game. So I still think Shelton's a guy that you look at here, whether it's tackle or guard. The Browns need offensive linemen. We're going to do that here. Protect Dante Moore. We got a weapon, too. Now we go add in for the Bengals here, and we're going to add somebody, a running back, Jonah Coleman, the beast from Washington. He is quiet because, man, this guy's a sleeper in the draft. I still think he might be the best running back in this draft class. Like, that's just me. I think Air Love and a projection. He's a young player, too. Coleman's a little bit of an older player. He's like 22. He'd be like 23 in his first year in the NFL. Overall, this guy is so talented. He makes a run with Genty. If you're just strictly saying right now who is the better running back in my eyes, I think Jonah Coleman is better. Maybe Air Love has more upside, but I think Coleman is one of the best running backs in the nation at the moment. And there's a couple other running backs that will be in this mock draft that we need to talk about because there's some good ones right now in college football. But Coleman, fantastic, was great versus Ohio State, which has got one of the best linebacking duos in the NFL or in college, which, hey, in the NFL, it might be too. But Coleman, you're saying to yourself, you got Chase Brown, though. What are you doing? And they drafted Taj Brooks in the late rounds. I think Coleman's a different beast, and I do think that they need to work on their run game more consistently, and it starts with the offensive line. I think new coaching is going to come in here, build a dynamic 1-2 punch with Coleman and also Chase Brown. And Brown's a good receiving back. Coleman can be that beast up there as the between the tackles guy, which is kind of what they're lacking. They're trying to go with Brooks too. On to the Titans here. I'm going with L.T. Overton, the edge rusher from Alabama. He isn't the most dynamic or anything like that, but he's got heavy hands and somebody that I just think is going to be a quality player, whoever ends up drafting him. So we're going to get him in here. Maybe even could be, I don't know, if nothing else, just a really, really solid NFL player that maybe Denico Autry type of football player. That's kind of what first comes to mind when I'm thinking of LT Overton. I like him, and while the production isn't what you want to see of a first-round pick or nothing, here in the second makes a lot of sense. And get a really high floor edge prospect for the Titans, continue to improve with Draymond Jones and Artie both being free agents. Then we go on to the New Orleans Saints, and we are going quarterback, right? Wrong. Edge rusher in the first round with Killer Folk. Now we get Chris Bell. I almost like Kelvin Bell. Kelvin Banks meets Chris Bell. But the receiver from Louisville, the dynamic threat, who I think is going to go in the first round when it's all said and done. He is an explosive machine waiting to go the distance. You get him on a slant. If you take the wrong angle, goodbye. He has got insane level of play strength to it. 6'1", like 230 pounds. He's rocked up to the gills. Get another playmaker, especially if Shaheed ends up walking in free agency, gets a monster deal somewhere else. Well, Bell can help out a little bit with that case scenario. And then we go on to the Raiders, and I'm going to go ahead and take Washington Denzel Boston. Why am I talking like that? But if I'm trying to do like a Boston accent, it would be more like that or something like which way. But I'm going to select a receiver here. Denzel Boston, a really good wide receiver. He just catches everything. And the Raiders could use a guy that catches everything at wide receiver. Jacoby Myers, free agent. They have struggled a bit with drops right now, too. So there it is with Thornton coming along. It's just drops, obviously, our thing. On it to the Finns at number 39. 39. Ty Simpson. Ooh, right, look at him. Simpson going crazy. He kind of reminds me a little bit like the mix between J.J. McCarthy and Mac Jones is who I'm going to call Ty Simpson right now. I think his stature and his arm talent is very reminiscent of J.J. McCarthy. I think he's a better processor, though, than J.J. McCarthy was coming out, at least at the moment. It's not perfect. His tape is not unbelievable, but it's definitely woken a lot of people up, obviously, in the draft community, and I had to go watch, and I'm like, yeah, dude's good. And I watched the Georgia tape, just watched most recently the Vanderbilt tape. Wisconsin's really got, he's got some good tape out there. Vanderbilt was a little bit maybe of a step back. I'm very curious to see how he looks versus Mizzou. That's going to be a big question mark for me. That Mizzou defense, which we're going to see a couple players, well, at least one player from Mizzou's defensive line here very, very soon. But Ty Simpson, at this point for the Dolphins, I'm like, all right, fine. I know people are clamoring for Tua Tagovailoa place. I still think they got a lot of needs on this roster in general. Their offensive line's banged up right now too, which doesn't help. Their defense can't stop anybody. Especially their run defense, but Ty Simpson here, if you want to take a developmental quarterback who could sit behind Tua for a season and you do something like that, then I'm okay with that. But for right now, it's a little bit of something different. On to the G-Men at number 40. I'm going to go ahead and take a linebacker, C.J. Allen. We got offensive line in the first round. Let's go get C.J. Allen to be the future in this linebacking room, whether Micah McFadden is re-signed or they let go of Bobby Okereke. Okereke's been playing really good right now, so maybe they keep him around and whatnot. We'll see how it goes, but C.J. Allen would be a great player into this defense. Next selection here, we got the Panthers back on the clock after going Arvell Reese in the first. I'm going Drew Aller, quarterback from Penn State. I still like Drew Aller. I'm still a believer. I know, call me whatever. I think Drew Aller will do way better in a different scheme that really tailors to Drew Aller. So that's my argument with Drew Aller, is that I see the talent. I see the potential. I'm not saying he's a top 10 pick right now, but all I am saying is that this guy has an elite arm. His zip that he can put over the middle of the field on some of those lasers. Why aren't they doing that more often? Why aren't they doing more play action deep shots? When they do that, it works. Go look at the Oregon tape. Go look at multiple tapes from last year. It works with Drew Aller, and they just aren't doing it enough. Instead, they're doing these play action reads, jet sweeps, and all these different gadget plays. I get it. Aller's, he can run too, and he's been using his legs, and the receiving core maybe isn't the best, which is also a problem, and they're trying to play around their scheme. So those are all factoring things into it as well. But for me personally, I think Aller has a lot more than what he's showing on film. So could this be a Justin Herbert type of scenario? Who knows? However, overall, I'm taking a chance at this point to at least give Bryce Young a little bit more competition. On to the Vikings here at 42. I'm going to go add in a big citrus, Dominique Orange, the defensive tackle. He's just somebody that's splash. And with big citrus, he's super strong at the point of attack. He's got that low center of gravity. He's a great run defender, and he's got some good explosion to get upfield. He's really a loose athlete, if nothing else. He's not the most explosive, but he is a loose athlete that can get creative and also disrupt the passer. And they just need even though the defensive line's been good, Jonathan Allen had a great week, I still think that they could look at some more youth in there for the future with Levi Rodriguez and so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Just continue to improve that a little bit. What's his name? Got his first sack, too, from Georgia this past week, so there's that, too. But any which way. On to the Cardinals here at number 43, and we're going to take Casey Concepcion. He sounds like some sort of concept building up here for the Cardinals, but I figured let's go add a playmaker into this offense, somebody that gives them some yak ability and some deep threat ability as well. Concepcion has made some big-time plays. He's also... as much as I love Marcel Reese, he's missed Concepcion on a couple of deep shots that was wide open on and created separation on. So let's add in Concepcion to be another playmaker to complement Marv and Marvelous Harrison and Michael Wilson in the receiving room. Falcons at 44, we're flying in here with Anthony Hill, who is a flyer. He is going to be a nice little Caden Ellis replacement if he's not able to be retained in free agency. Well, Hill can come in here and be that guy for this football team. Now we move on to the Bears, back on the clock at 45 overall. I am going with Wayman Jordan, the USC running back. I think he's somebody that's going to start to get talked about very, very soon. Great running back. He just put up a monster week, too, versus Michigan State. was just tearing it up, man. This guy all season long has been on an absolute tear. His vision is insane. He's got great patience. He can break tackles with the best of them. Maybe he doesn't have insane speed, but he's got enough speed to get the job done. So I'm not like worried about his speed or nothing like that. It matters. He's got the speed where it matters most, and going to add in that future running back in here for Ben Johnson. Going on to the Ravens, number 46 overall. Let's take a defensive tackle. Let's go get the big fella Christian Miller at Georgia, who is going to be a nice little player to develop in here with Matabuki's injury. That's something that is very concerning for me. I'm hoping the best, and it won't be too serious or nothing. Those neck injuries can be crazy. It really can be. And then you got to look at Broderick Washington, who could be a cap casualty after this season. He's injured right now, too. So I just think that getting somebody, Travis Jones is a free agent. I expect him to be re-signed. Overall, Aeneas Peebles. Let's continue to build the trenches some more. Back-to-back trenches. Christian Miller here. Good, solid run defender. That has some pass rush upside, too. New England, 47 overall. They're going to go take a pass rusher as well. TJ Parker. As I mentioned earlier, I'm lower on TJ Parker. It just kind of, I don't really see at least the first round vibes. Second, third round, okay, I can start to see that with some of the potential there. It's just he's so raw as a pure pass rusher. He just kind of runs down people. He doesn't really have a secondary move a lot of times. I don't see the bend. That's just kind of my view, and I don't think he's a consistent block shooter. As I've talked about, every time I watch Clemson's tape, it's either Peter Woods or Will Helt and that defensive line that I feel a lot better about, or even DeMonte Capehart, who's had some flashes this season too. I just think Parker is, I don't know, I'm not quite there yet at this point. So there's where I'm at, 47 here for the Patriots at this point. All right, I'll take a chance. I'll take a chance on some traits. On to the Bolts here at 48. I'm going to go ahead and take a center. Epani Lelu from Oregon. Lelu is a monster up in the middle at that center spot for the Ducks. Go look at that Penn State tape or any tape this season. He's a power horse. He is so strong. He's a bull. Good luck going through this guy. He kind of fits that Harbaugh, a little replacement for Bradley Boozman for the long haul, but Epani can be it sounds like a card name or something like that, but anyway, he should have his own little card there for him too, but we're going to go ahead and get that center of the future with Epani Laulu. On to the Cowboys here, 49. I'm going to go and take the Wolverine, former Alabama. I love that picture. I think that's so cool. Whoever did the design on that artwork got to get some credit out there. Justice Haynes, who is a speedster. He is going to be a home run threat. And here's my view, okay, because look, I got to state this where it is. Javonte Williams has been incredible this season. He might get a little paycheck. He got George Pickens to pay. I mean, they got some contracts, so they got to make some decisions on who they're going to pay, who they're not going to pay, and Jerry Jones has kind of shown that he's not going to pay running backs at this point after the Ezekiel Elliott hurt sort of thing, I think. So let's add in Justice Haynes here in the second round and can fill right in there with this great offensive line to run block all day for Justice Haynes, and he's going to be a home run target. Like, he's just got that speed for days, and he's looked great there for Michigan this season. Now we go on at number 50 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got a quarterback, Lenore says. Let's go get him a weapon. Jacoby Lane. And he got a guy that just also another dude that catches everything. Got super strong hands. He creates his own lanes. Enough separation. He's not the most athletically gifted guy. Like, if he was a little more athletic, I think he'd be a first-round guy. Some people will argue he's a first-round guy. Good wide receiver. And could be a nice help out there with DK Metcalf as the number 2 early on for this football team and for Lenore Sellers in this offense. On to Seattle at number 51 overall. I'm going with Parker Brailsford, the center. And look, Sundell's not been bad. It's not all been on him. He's a first-year starter there for this football team in Seattle. He fits the scheme really, really well in Kubiak's style. I think Parker Brailsford would be an upgrade a little bit there, too. I mean, once again, Sunsdale has a lot of upside. We'll continue to monitor that situation. It's still an area that they can improve upon. They did a pretty good job versus that Bucs front in general. It wasn't perfect. Brailsford, though, I like him a lot, and I just think that even though he's undersized too, he can fit this scheme in Kubiak and the way he likes to run this offense. So we're taking Brailsford here. On to the Broncos, 52. I would consider a center here too, and that's why I'm going Caleb Tiernan. I think he moves to the inside at the next level. And when you think about their interior offense linemen, or just their offensive line in general, they're getting older. So starting to invest in the offensive line, I think, is critical, because in the next couple of seasons, you might be saying, oh boy, we're in trouble. We got all these free agent offensive linemen. We're getting older now at this front. We might start having more injuries. Let's invest in the trenches, whether Tiernan moves into center or guard. I don't see why he doesn't have the nuance to be able to be a center for this football team with Wattenberg being a free agent too. Like, you figure it out, but Powers could be a cap casualty after this season, possibly. So you got to think about all those scenarios. Tiernan, to me, would be a plug-and-play type of player for them on that offensive line on that interior. Houston, this one's from Washington, and we're taking linebacker Torian York. He is just all around the football. He's one of the better run defenders in college football. Another dude, just every time you turn on the Texas A&M film, flashes. He makes plays. He's around the football. Pass coverage is not the strength of his game, maybe, but you got Azeez Ojai here, so he can help out a little bit there. I think York, though, is just a flashy dude that comes downhill in a hurry, plays tough-nosed football. He's not the longest or biggest guy or anything like that, but he's a really, really good, tenacious football player. And I think he's got enough athleticism, too, to go sideline to sideline. Very good football player. And then we go on to Houston again, who's back on the clock. And this time it's their own pick. We're taking Amari Washington. I have watched his Penn State tape. I've not watched more than that. I looked at the PFF draft simulator. I'm like, Amari Washington. I know that they've got some dudes up there on that defensive line, and I'm still waiting for Bear Alexander. Bear Alexander's made some plays this year. I will say, number one on that defensive line. Of course, we talked about Uyunglele, but Amari Washington, I went and watched him, and I'm like, dude, this guy, if he puts it together, he's going to be a top 10 pick at some point. He's just so raw. He doesn't have the functional power yet is the problem, and he doesn't have the consistent block shedding ability. It's flashes. Like, it's on tape there. He has got like 34 plus inch arms. He's got to. The dude is long. He is so freaking long. It's crazy. And he's got explosion. Dude, he's like consistently the first guy off the defensive line there at Oregon, or at least a lot of times you see him explode off the defensive line. He is an insane athlete for his size. He's like 6'3", 330 pounds. Just needs to get more functional play strength, as I said, more consistent with the block shedding. Overall, this guy could be easily a first-round pick. He is only a junior, I believe, so he could come back next year easily and be a top 15 pick in the draft, but definitely has the traits. I'll say that right now. Maybe if he isn't projected to be a top 15 pick, maybe he will say, hey, I'm going to come back and be a first rounder next year. Who knows? But for right now, we'll keep an eye on this guy. Let's build some more trenches and get D'Amico Ryan somewhere up on that defensive line for the future. On to the San Francisco 49ers. I'm so used to saying Houston. Now it's San Francisco. We're going Jeremy Bernard, the wide receiver from Alabama. A little bit underrated there, of course, with Ryan Williams, who had an uncharacteristic drop this past week, might add. But Jeremy Bernard has been a really quality playmaker, and I think that's what he can be at the next level. With Slick Rick, Jeremy Bernard, if Juwan Jennings isn't re-signed, yeah, you got Brandon Ayuk, but you got yourself that third playmaker in the offense, Jeremy Bernard, a quality wide receiver who can also block in his own right too. So Bernard, get a playmaker in this offense. I'm just, picking at straws. I think Bernard's a great player, and at this point, kind of like a BPA scenario. Chiefs on the board at 56. I'm going with edge rusher Zion Young. Oh, here we go. The Mizzou edge rusher. I can't wait to see what this guy does and where he ends up going in the draft. Now, he may be coming back for another season because he could easily be a first-round pick as well. He's got elite traits. He's got length. He's got size at 6'5", 260-pound range. Yeah, he needs to continue to get more muscle mass. He has so much that he can build on that frame. But Spags could be licking at the chops when he sees a guy like this. Could end up being kind of like, like somebody that I think of for this defensive line, like a Charles Omenihu type of replacement for them, who I believe is going into a contract year. And Omenihu's a good football player. He's a disruptive force, especially when he's healthy out there. But Zion Young just has those type of traits, just needs to continue to get better, and overall his development. However, he shows that explosiveness. He shows the pass rushing ability. Very much an upside prospect here. Can't wait to see him versus Caden Proctor and that Alabama offensive line. Oh, that's going to be a great matchup to watch. On to the Green Bay Packers here, 57 overall, the brightness. Whoa, but we're going with Chris Johnson, the San Diego State kid. Oh, man. This guy is going to be a fun one when we get to the Senior Bowl. Here's the thing, though. I have not watched film on this guy. I've just seen some highlights and stuff like that. And, man, the guy is a ball hawk. He's a playmaker, had a critical interception just a few weeks ago, pick 6. And it looks like he's a decent athlete as well. So I'm just taking a chance on another cornerback. You pair him up with Nixon and Hobbs to be your tandem of 3. This is a BPA approach in my point for this roster. Just continue to add to their team. Johnson, if he continues to prove out, man, he certainly could be this high of a player off the board. So I want to see some more tape on him. As I said before, I got to dig into the San Diego State. I'm going to find some film there on San Diego State. Overall, this guy has got some Got some ability for sure at the cornerback position. Then we go on to the Indianapolis Colts at number 58 overall. This is a guy I have watched, Whit Weeks from LSU. He's a great football player, athletically gifted, somebody that when you think of a white linebacker, right? Oh, you think he's an instinctual guy that, maybe not the super fast guy or anything like that. If anything, maybe the instincts go, but he's a little bit more the opposite in which way. But Whit Weeks going to be a nice little will linebacker to pair along with Jair Franklin in that linebacking room. Can give him some more coverage ability, which is something they kind of lacked in that linebacking room for a little bit of a minute. Now, Alubi had a really great punt block this week, too, which he was kind of came unblocked. A little bit of a misassignment there from the Raiders. Any which way, hey, give credit to Alubi there for getting a big-time block. And then we go on to the Bucs here, and they also need a linebacker, but Whit Weeks just went off the board. I'm shaking it up this week. I normally go linebacker for the Bucs. Let's say they get somebody in free agency or whatever. Levante David can come back for another 5 seasons or so, but you got Michael Trigg. If Kate Otten ends up walking, he had a good week, actually, versus the Seahawks. But Trigg here, Trigg has been insane. He's a guy that I've had a crush on with the draft for a minute. And there's been off-the-field stuff. There's been injuries. There's been a lot of different stuff with Michael Trigg. He's finally on the football field. He's been playing lights out with Sawyer Robertson over there at Baylor. The dude is a monster. He is athletic. He's physically imposing for safeties or linebackers even to cover. He's a physical freak. And let's go and take a tight end here, changing it up. I think Trigg is just insane. It just depends on some of the other stuff there. On to number 60, the Buffalo Bills. We went offensive line, Chase Bisontes in the first round. I'm going to finish off this secondary with Kamari Ramsey. I love Ramsey. I think Ramsey is a hard-nosed football player. He can play down in the box. He can play tough. He can cover guys. I see him in one-on-one reps, hold his own. And ultimately, you pair him up with Cole Bishop as your 1-2 punch. Checkmate, right? Okay, bad puns out here. On the Lions. Thought about offensive line. I decided to go defensive line. Joshua Josephs, just a BPA at this point in my eyes. Josephs, a great football player that has been a consistent presence for that volunteer defensive line. And he's long. Even though he's undersized a little bit, he's got good length. He's probably got 33, 34-inch arms out there. And he's got some good speed to power. And certainly can be another edge rusher for this Detroit Lions team to pair up with Aiden Hutchinson. And not that their passer has been terrible or nothing, but Josephs can just continue to add to the pressure machine. Eagles. With this pick at number 62, we're going with a pass rusher as well. Anto Saka, as his name would say. He is a sack artist. He is a speed machine. He's that ultimate tools-based prospect as we go into the offseason. It's going to be very, very fun to see what happens in the Senior Bowl when he gets there, because I think he's going to be a Senior Bowl invite with his athletic profile. If the season gets a little bit better, he still has to get stronger. There's no doubt about it. He's got to get a little bit better with his hands and more creative, getting off blocks and stuff like that. He is a developmental prospect. But Howie Roseman, likes to draft some of these type of guys with the extreme athleticism. He has a lot of coverage ability too. He has a lot of experience dropping back into coverage, and it's not terrible either. So Anton Saka, the athleticism, I saw him chase down Nico Iamala a couple of times. So we'll take a chance on a toolsy edge rusher here. Number 63 overall, Rams. We're taking Xavier Scott, the cornerback from Illinois. He is a Fighting alumni through and through. He's the slot corner there. And if Quentin Lake ends up getting a big contract elsewhere, well, I think Scott would be a plug-and-play player for this football team in the slot. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Very good coverage player. And feisty in the run game as well. On to the Jags, the Super Bowl champions. Good to say. We're going with the safety Aleem McNeil Warren, the freak from Toledo, the Rocket. He is a rocket because he's a very good athlete. He's a fluid athlete as well. He's not just Mr. Explosive. He's a guy that's relatively fluid for a guy that's 6'2", 200-plus pounds and some change. So he's somebody that comes out here. You end up being that 1-2 punch with Eric Murray, maybe going into next season with Dewey being a free agent. Maybe he's brought back, and I know he's a team captain and stuff like that. Overall, he's had some questions too. So either which way, Emmanuel McNeil Warren going to be that future at the linebacking position for them, and just add a monster there in the back end, which I do think is an area that they can upgrade in the secondary. And he could take that wingy role, or that Dewey role, Andrew Wingard, his role as well as somebody who can play hybrid across the board for that secondary. So that is it here for this 2-round Tuesday. Let me know what you think, agree or disagree. I know the Scoresby thing is going to light some people up, and I totally understand. But all I'm saying, just go watch Scoresby And you might say, oh, you are crazy, but that's kind of where I'm at. So let me know what you think. I hope you guys have a really cool day, and let's freaking go. Scoresby. Woohoo. Man, I still can't get over that.